Zoning consists of stage control and approach. We're getting in the thick of neutral game. Zoning is basically fighting for space and waiting for an opportunity to push into your opponent's zone. Your character has its own zone, or attacks that can be put out within the 14 frame reaction window. Your opponent's character has their zone as well. When two players are zoning each other, it's as if they're pushing each other's zones against one another to see who will cave and give up their positioning. There are many ways to zone effectively depending on your character, but you can boil it down to types, horizontally and vertically. Horizontal zoning is your ground game and your short hop aerials. Many characters have strong tilts or aerials and can put out hitboxes quickly in front of them. In combination with a dash dance and wave dashes, horizontal zoning has the strength of allowing you to be anywhere on the ground and protect yourself with relatively safe hitboxes. Vertical zoning is sharking from the air. Being high in the air is a strong position to be in because you are safe from grounded approaches. From here, you can create opportunities to confirm punishes by landing on top of an opponent who gets too close to you. You can also stay safe since you have a lot of tools available to you. You have full hop, double jump, fast falls, no fast falls, drift in, drift away, landing without an aerial into shielding or dashing away. With vertical zoning, you can really confirm hits through prediction confirmation. And that's basically priming your reaction time by expecting what your opponent's going to do. Because you're expecting it, you're hyper aware of your prediction, and when you see it, you're able to react at least twice as fast as if you were reacting to something unexpected. Vertical zoning is strong because if they are stuck in an animation underneath your range and you can get to them in time with your fast fall, the hit becomes guaranteed. If they are scouting out your fall with a dash dance or aerial, you can choose not to fast fall or do an aerial in order to get away. If they're holding shield, you could do a late or fade away aerial for safe shield pressure. It's a great position to be in if you can react properly and mix up your escape options if they start to catch on to it. You want to get used to mixing up the kind of zoning that you do, as there are a lot of counters to everything. When you get stuck in the mindset of abusing one kind of zoning, it's easy to get lost when it starts to not work. Countering a strong type of zoning takes a calculated effort, and while one counter beats one kind of zoning, it'll often lose to a different kind of zoning. For instance, to beat dash dances, an opponent might try to overshoot an aerial. If you were to mix in vertical zoning at that moment, you could easily catch them coming into you. To beat vertical zoning, an opponent might try to read your jump. Once they jump into your space, if you were dash dancing instead, you could easily react and punish them either in the air or upon landing. Those are two main categories of zoning, but you can break them down even further to get really different kinds of zoning tactics, with different strengths and weaknesses. I'll do a demonstration later on in the video. But before then, I want to go over stage control, as it becomes important when considering zoning. Stage control is a condition. If one player has it, the other one doesn't. Or, neither has stage control. When faced with two unpenetrable walls, whoever can assert themselves stronger can gain stage control for an advantage that could tip the scales in an otherwise stalemate situation. If you're keeping your space well, then any stage you're able to take means stage they no longer have access to, and then the claustrophobia sets in. If you have center stage, then your opponent is in the corner, which means they can't move as freely as they would like. The longer you're able to keep control, the more likely they are to panic and do something impulsive. Recognize the opponent wants stage and that they're going to try something to get it. From there, you can react and begin to cut off escape options. If you're the one in the corner, it's important to stay composed. A lot of players aren't actually willing to come and hit you when you're in the corner, which means you could just stay there until they do try something. As soon as they commit to anything though, it's your chance to take back stage and suddenly they're in the corner, assuming you were able to avoid whatever they threw at you. It can be a do or die mix-up situation since you're at the edge, so be prepared to defend yourself by recognizing what they might try to do. Okay, we're going to do a zoning demonstration. Now bear in mind that I am a Falcon main, and this is through the eyes of a Falcon main. So with different characters comes different strengths and advantages. Falcon's known for his ground speed, so most of these different zoning techniques are gonna vary from his ground speed. Falcon is also a fast faller, so these will be through the eyes of a fast faller, just so you guys know. So I've went over horizontal and vertical zoning, and really the first most common one that you're going to see is dash stance zoning. The strengths of these, it allows you full horizontal control. It's very non-committal, which basically just means at any point in your dash stance you still have tons of options to choose from. You can shield, you can pivot, you can dash back, you can dash forwards, you can jump, you can roll away, you could enter run, all this stuff. Very non-committal. Zoning with dash stance allows you to slow down the rhythm. Because you threaten such a wide range with your dash stance, a lot of times people will have to slow it down in order to kind of interpret your dash stance and kind of see where it's vulnerable, stuff like that. So if you're scrapping and you're getting beat up a lot, or you're just constantly approaching and you're getting fucked for it, you can slow it down by dash dancing a little bit. One of the weaknesses of dash dancing, for Falcon at least, is you need a lot of space. This is the full dash dance, so you need a lot of space in order to make full use of your dash dance, get the most out of it. Yeah, you can do this, but then like you're basically in one spot, and like a good aerial hitbox can like cover everywhere you are in this point, because the range is not very wide. You're no longer threatening like this space like you were. So you need a lot of stage in order to do this, and for small stages like Yoshi's and Fountain, you might not have that much space, because if Marth is over here even, then like you are like in the corner because of how small those stages are. Or Fox. Both characters who are super fast, they have a huge threat range just from their speed as well, like Falcon. That's really the main weakness, but otherwise it's very strong. Now your dash dance, it can be aggressive or passive. A more aggressive dash dance is going to be like right in someone's face. Like say Marth is in shield, and I know that like all he can do is fair out, so I'm going to dash in while he's shielding to kind of bait out a fair, and then I'm going to dash away. I'll dash in to bait out a fair, dash away to avoid the fair, dash back in to punish if I have enough time. But maybe it's Peach, right? Super famous clip, Mango dash dancing outside of Armada's range at Genesis. Right up in his face. Float cancels, not really punishable. Armada could just down smash, so it wouldn't be safe to just run in and try to grab a float canceled nair out of shield. So you just kind of keep dashing, and you just kind of wait until Armada throws out that dash attack, and that does have a lot of end lag, so I can grab that. This is kind of the aggressive dash dance. You're right up in their face, you're basically intimidating them into doing something defensive, and because you expect them to, that defensive option looks really dumb when it doesn't work out. Aggressive dash dances, because you're so close, they're vulnerable to surprise attacks. Like if I'm doing this to Marth, and instead of like countering with a fair, or wave dashing away, or trying to shield grab, if he wave dashes out and then forward smashes, like I'm trying to be like all the way out here, but he can actually cover that range if I'm not expecting it. So unless I'm like ready to react to wave dash forward smash as well, he'll probably hit me with it if I'm doing an aggressive one. Come on, Marth, please. You can also have like a passive dash dance, which is like further back. And with a passive dash dance, you're really just avoiding. You're really trying to avoid attacks, and this allows you to be more observant of what your opponent's doing. Like, how might they test your zone? How might they try to throw out a bait or throw out an attack to hit you? Passive, the name of the passive dash dance is staying safe, and that's really like your prime priority, and it shows in your spacing, because from like this distance, you're really not gonna punish anything from Marth, and honestly, you're not even putting pressure on Marth. You're kind of just giving Marth like all this stage, all this time to be able to poke at you and kind of like bait you into stuff. But you're also not really falling for baits because you're not really even looking for openings. And then like described, there's kind of like a middle ground dash dance, which is like a whiff punishing dash dance. It's like the smartest dash dance. So not only are you like right in the space where you need to be in order to dash back to stay safe, basically this space means your dash forward is far enough, is just into their zone where it is a threat at all times, and they have to be aware of this. So this is like really scary position for Marth, because you could just do that at any time. But because you're dash dancing, he's going to try to hit you. You still have all this room to dash back, and he can't actually hit you with anything, even if he tries to overshoot, like with a grab. You can dash all the way back and still stay safe. So the smart with punishing kind of dash dance is very reactive. Your eyes are trained on that zone, on the spacing between the two characters, and you're very observant as to what they're going to do. If they're going to try to overshoot, you can react by dashing through them and crossing them up and taking stage, especially if you have a good dash dance. Like if they're trying to hit you because you're all the way back here, you could just dash forward, and then they're, oh my gosh, they're all the way over here, and suddenly you're over here. And then if they whiff anything else in front of you, you could just run in with a grab. So very strong. You're keen on looking for things to whiff punish. I say this is vulnerable to effective baits. Basically, because you're looking to whiff punish something, they could whiff in front of you. That's just far enough for you to react to and punish, even if you're predicting it. But because your brain is trained onto whiff punishing, as soon as you see something that's like might be ambiguous, a lot of times you'll just go for it, and then that's when they can dash back and punish you. You'll see that more in my approach video. If you're doing that with punishing dash dance, you gotta realize you have to be close enough to a whiff in order to punish it. Otherwise, you could easily be baited by like interruptible Isaiah frames, interruptible as soon as moves. Like Marth's down tilt, he could just down tilt again, or Fox's up tilt, he could just up tilt again. And if you're far enough away, you don't actually have time to be able to punish it. So you gotta be careful of those. Okay, some techniques you can use in dash dance zoning is the short dash. How does Marth always get up on this platform? You can short dash into long dash. So you can short dash into long dash. And this kind of lets you like delay the timing of your dash dance. You guys can kind of see that. You can microspace like very precisely. Like dash dancing, you can be as precise as you want, and you can control your timing a little better with the flicks of the stick. You could shield stop to kind of stop at any point, or you can wave dash down. And wave dashing down kind of allows you to position yourself for that read, for that punish. Like if I know Mart's gonna fair right at that second, I'll park right outside of his fair, and then if he lands like anywhere here, then I can dash in and grab. With your dash dance, if you're getting overshot, if someone's trying to chase you down, you could just enter run to get away. Like say Mart wave dashes out a shield and starts running towards you. Oh no! You can just keep running. And then you can crouch stop and then dash back out of crouch in order to punish a forward smash or something. At any point in your dash, you can shield. And this is strong because you could shield at the end of your wave dash, or you could shield way earlier, somewhere in the middle of your wave dash. And if you're able to shield where someone doesn't expect you to, you can catch them rising with an aerial into your shield, which becomes a high aerial that isn't safe on shield. And you can throw off people's spacings. People have like very predetermined spacings that work for shield pressure. You can throw those off with your shield, put them into hit lag, make them miss their fast fall, etc., and then get shield grabs off of those. With the wave dashes, you also have pivots. Like say this was Fox and he like short hop nairs at you. You can dash all the way to the end of your wave dash or of your dash dance, pivot, and because you're in the air, Fox starts to fall. He starts to fall right where you were, right where you just jumped. But because you're in the air, you don't get hit, and then you can just land with the knee to punish. Okay, I kind of write about some common counters or what your opponent might try to do versus your dash dance and how you can counter those kind of things. I think I kind of went into that a little bit. I'll throw up these notes on Smashboards so you guys can find that there. But yeah, your dash dance zoning game is very it makes a strong use of stage control and your ability to control the stage and pressuring your opponents with stage. The more you're able to avoid hits with dash dance, the harder you're going to make people try to hit you. The greater lengths your opponent will try to go in order to hit you. And then if someone's like plays really safe and does all these unpunishable things, you can bait them into doing more and more committal things that might have better hitboxes or more range. And then once they commit to something that you know is committal, you can whiff punish. You can start whiff punishing. A lot of times people fight people who are so much better than them that they feel like it's just impossible to beat this person. But there's a lot of ways, and I'm trying to explain this through this neutral section, there's a lot of ways you can break down their game plans. Someone wants to just dash dance camp you, you can put pressure on them, you can force mix-up situations, or you can demonstrate like your own evasiveness and then just change the game that you're playing. So rather than just like always approaching poorly into their defensive zone, you can build your own defensive zone and then start playing stage control. Or you can get right up in their face and then force mix-up situations. There's a lot of things you can do to even out the playing field versus like a perceived much higher level player. Okay, number 2, zoning tactic. Sharking with aerials. I go over this in my vertical zoning segment. Sharking with aerials basically allows you vertical control. And because you have like instant double jumps, which allows you to fast fall super quickly, you can jump forward, you can jump backwards. You can jump forwards but then drift backwards, and all this is very deceptive with your drifts and with your jump, because someone could be reacting to a jump forward, but then all of a sudden you land further back than when you started the jump. And then like whiff punishing is all about like, it's almost like pixels of spacing. Like your spacing has to be really tight in order to whiff punish. So that's all you need to subvert in order to gain an advantage. You just need to trick them up a little bit. So if they think you're gonna fast fall here, and they come to whiff punish that, their spacing and timing is so reliant on you landing there right when they think you are, that if you just not fast fall and then fall back even a little bit, all of a sudden they whiff to grab like right here. And you who landed right here, you can land and get your own grab. This is what I mean when you have mix-ups on your landing. They expect you to land with a move, and then this move has like, I don't know, 7 frames of landing lag? 11 frames of landing lag. It's knee. 11 frames of landing lag. You could just tomahawk and only suffer from 4 frames of regular landing lag, and then dash away and dash back in to punish. So if you can just throw these little gears in people's wrenches into people's gears, you can fuck them up a lot and create openings for yourself. Vertical control is pretty non-committal as well, because you're in such a safe spot. It's a little more committal than dash dancing, because once you're in the air, you have to fall, especially if you used your double jump. You either have to fall or jump away, but you are suspended in the air. So there's a little bit of commitment there, but it's not enough. It's not something you could react to if your opponent's like too far away from you, and depending on their own ground speed. So, you know, when you're in a stalemate with Marth and you two are just dash dancing like hell, if you can jump right when you think they're gonna approach or try something, like they try to do a short hop nair, right, to cut into your dash dance, just kind of test you. That thing is really safe if you're trying to, like, you can't dash into it, you can't really dash under it. You have to be like really tight with like how you put like an up air in order to trade with it or beat it, or with a nair, or you have to be like super ready to like grab the landing. But if you're in the air at that moment, you can fall onto Mart's nair. Imagine Mart's nair right underneath me. The nair is gonna whiff because I'm way above him, and then I can fall onto him with a knee that I know is gonna hit because he's still in his nair animation. So it's all about timing. It can throw off existing rhythms. Like horizontal zoning is like really hard to control because of how fast every character is. That if you throw in a jump sometimes, like the dash dance can create pressure for people to like make people feel like they need to do something, and then the jumps can be used to prepare a whiff punish. And because you're in the air, because fast falling is so good, you have like complete control of like when to land or where to land. So really strong tool. Hopefully I've demonstrated that you guys get what I'm talking about. The risks of this is like people reading your jump, especially if you're double jumping. If you get caught out of your double jump and you're at a high percent, you will just die, or if you're at the ledge. So there can be some risk there. Even if you're at low percent, if you get caught with like Mart's up air, in a bad way, then you just get juggled for like 50%, and that sucks. But you have an adequate number of mix-ups that even if you lose one interaction, you still need to be able to trust that your mix-ups are strong. Because you need to be able to use it, pull out like these different kinds of tools, different kinds of zoning, just as a mix-up. So yeah, with the fast fall, if someone shields underneath you, because you're fast falling into the shield, you can do late aerials, and then like you can pressure shields safely. So shielding isn't like a good way of beating this. If you're Marth and you just kind of run in and shield against this, it's like not a good spot for you either. Some techniques with these jumps, you'll see None do this a lot. He'll rise with an aerial and then fall with an aerial. And because people, for whatever reason, aren't familiar with Falcon's Isaiah frames, or just interruptible moves, like you could do double back air. Rising back air, falling back air. This can trick people into, when they see the first back air, they're like, oh, he's going to be in lag because he just threw out a really bad move out in the air. But no, you can fall with an aerial to cover your landing. You're not actually at risk. And then with this knee, like you can knee and then fall with up air to cover yourself. And this knee can even become like you read their jumps. Like Fox, who likes to full hop with Nair approach, this knee can fuck Fox really hard. And then you can still fall with up air to cover yourself. From the air, tomahawking is also really strong. You do have less lag if you tomahawk. And you can also land with a grab if you tomahawk. Versus a shield or like a imprecise. Like sometimes just empty landing puts you in such a strong position because you feign them out. You mix them up with what you're doing in the air, that you can just land and then grab them. And then sometimes you want to grab because a grab leads to more for you at that moment. You can also waveland from landing. And this is like a pretty significant distance if you can get a good angle. You can retreat to platforms if you're on a platform stage. So say you want to hover here, but then like it looks like he's like got right underneath you and the ground doesn't seem safe anymore. You can just be like, "Oop, I'm out of there. You can't actually hit me. I'm too fast. I have too many options." You can do jumps forwards, or you can do jumps backwards. And then all of a sudden, like your range, this is true for your double jumps too. Your range, it just becomes like really, really a lot. You can fall through these platforms. These platforms might look like they prevent you from doing aerials, but if you've practiced your fast fall through platforms, you can put out certain hitboxes here too. You can land over side platforms and then waveland off, but that kind of gets into a different kind of zoning that I'll go over later. You can land further from the opponent if they aren't really if they didn't come in that time. You can land with what looks like a bad aerial, but because you're far enough away, it kind of serves as a bait for someone who might be dash dancing here, right? You can see that you're not gonna hit him, but if I just land and run away, he won't think that he can punish. So I'm gonna give him a really ugly looking stomp, and he'll be like, oh, I can punish that, but he's actually too far away to punish that. Stomp, L cancel, dash away, and then you can whiff punish that. So think about baits, think about if you can confirm these hits. You'll know when you confirm a hit because the Marth will have gone, have tried to run underneath you or something. based on like how they're moving and where they're at, you can confirm with a fast-fall aerial. And if an aerial's not gonna hit, then sometimes don't throw out that aerial. You know, it'll save you some lag time, and it won't make it so clear to them what to punish. People are really used to punishing laggy aerials, but they're not used to punishing land and dash away. Even if someone tries to shield grab your landing, you could land in front of them as they're starting their shield grab, and then after your 4 frames of landing, you still have 3 frames to dash away, and that'll get you out of provided you don't dash into the grab. So again, with like any kind of zoning, you can use horizontal to control like where you are at any time, and then you can use vertical to control like your timing for like punishing. And then just this combination alone is like really deadly. The thing with zoning tactics is that all of these are really good, and you can achieve mastery with any one of these zoning tactics. So if you are able to do like a lot of them, because they all have like their own different strengths and weaknesses, then you're just like untouchable, and you're just running circles in their face, and it's awesome. Okay, the third zoning tactic. I don't go over this in my other guides. You have forward and backward jump aerial spacing. This is different jump and aerial combinations that can beat certain options while repositioning yourself. So this is kind of like smart usage of your aerials. This is like knowing exactly where the space that your aerial covers. If you guys were able to see like where that nair compares to Marth's face, and where that up air compares to Marth's face. Like for Falcon, you can use this up air to poke at people, and then still like drift really far back. So instead of just like landing with like zoning with these nairs all the time, you can do up air and still drift like really far back to stay safe. So up air is a really good like poke tool. Bear is also a really good tool to like zone out people. You see Wizzy doing this a lot. Just like safe. These bears, like if you do a rising bear, it auto cancels. Same thing with up air. So you can find the timing where you can like fast fall it but still like auto cancel. And you can just put out these like really safe, really fast hitboxes, really strong hitboxes. These all combo. And you could seamlessly mix this in with your dash dances. I call it forward/backwards jump aerials. So like basically out of a shield stop, like if a drift in up tilt poke like won't reach, then like a drift back up air will like keep you safe. Either they're trying to punish you for like retreating with an aerial, and they'll get close enough where a lead in up air will hit, or like a dashing nair will hit, or they're not close enough to hit like a retreating aerial. So you kind of have like a little bit of a mix up there as well. And it's really zony because you don't know, like these hitboxes are just designed to kind of poke and test like the opponents, where they're gonna be, where they're zoning, like if they'll run into this, like are they trying to approach now, all this kind of stuff. These are all the questions. They're not designed to like penetrate the zone quite like this up air is, right? These are more like safe, non-committal zoning hitboxes you can use. Knee can cover high out in front of you. Stomp has like a strong disjoint from the back. If you see like underneath his elbow. His elbow's vulnerable, but like when you're jumping, like grounded opponents won't be that high up. So if like a fox is trying to run in underneath you, that disjoint will help a lot. Stomp also has like huge hurtbox distortion. Like this can just leap over Fox's jabs or dash attacks or grabs, a lot of stuff. So basically, like by looking at your hitboxes and looking at your drift, your analog jumps, which you have control over out of any kind of shield stop, you can zone like strictly with aerials. You don't even need to dash dance, which is really stupid sounding, but like just these can be like so strong with a lot of characters. These can also become like, they can be like more defensive or more offensive. Strictly from like, are you holding forward or are you holding backwards? The thing I love about Falcon's shield stop back jump is he can cover a lot of space horizontally, like pretty quickly with a analog jump backwards. So if he can run to this point in center stage, like all the way from here, he can shield stop, he can turn around, shield stop, jump backwards, and then put out like a really deep back air. And you can catch people off guard with this if you're like conditioning them with this dash dance. Like they think you're gonna keep dash dancing, but suddenly at the end of your dash dance, you're like overshooting them with like a strong back air hitbox. And they don't have any stage to avoid you. So like if you're just dash dancing here, you shield, jump back. Yeah, you guys can see the range, right? I feel like I'm just trying to show this range really well. You know, all your hitboxes have like different uses. For Falcon, his nair, he has 2 hits of nair. The first hit's really like an aerial jab, and it's like mostly effective as an anti-air. It's the second hit that really serves as like a combo starter. So sometimes you can just land on people with a nair and then get a combo started from there. Sometimes your first hit of nair, like this nair, it comes out so high that a fox can run underneath it and not get hit by it. It's not guaranteed at all. And because you stick your leg out, like Falcon is like 2 falcons wide right now because of his big ass legs, that it can leave you open to getting hit with like a Marth Fair or a Fox up smash. So what you can do is also just do like where someone would expect you to be in the air for longer, you can fast fall the aerial to like enter your dash more quickly. Especially if this nair has no place of hitting. Like, this isn't gonna hit anyone sometimes. Sometimes Falcons just nair because how do you neutral? But if the nair's not gonna hit anyone, like, don't stick your leg out so vulnerably, you know? Like, a lot of foxes are looking for up smashes now, and that's a really easy way to get up smashed, is like trying to nair. So instead, what you can do is you can beat them out of the timing. Like, you fall with the nair so quickly that you can just dash away and become safe again. If you are trying to get a hit, a zoning hit, like, consider up air as well, because you have more drift out of it, and as soon as your legs go above you, like, then you're like falling back. Your body's behind you where it's safe. And sometimes if you're like, you know, these are your fastest hitboxes that come out. And a lot of times, if like a spacey's just gonna nair at you, like, you'll oftentimes trade. And sometimes you don't want to trade with first hit of nair, just like a useless jab. But if you trade with an up air, that can cause knockdowns way earlier. It can push people away if they're CCing, and you have further control of your drift. So consider your aerials and like how they might be useful to you in different situations. Again, you can, so different techniques. Okay, so for consistency, weaknesses of this tactic is opponents can anti-air you, they can read your jump, and because like jump squat is vulnerable, you can get hit like before you can get an aerial out to protect you. Especially if you're Falcon, slow ass fucking aerials. A lot of the top characters can cover a lot of horizontal range very quickly. So if you're not timing your jumps well, then like it can be a lot of free openings for people. Some techniques for this kind of zoning, you can mix up like instant aerials and late aerials. Mix in your drifts, mix in your different kind of jumps. Mix up your rhythm, like when you decide to jump. So do like a lot of this, where you have control and you have a strong defense before you like commit to a jump. Jumps can be scary if people know when you're jumping all the time. Oh, and you also have to be mindful of what you're doing out of a land when you're landing. Because if I do this and then I dash back all the time, the hitbox disappears like really early, and while they might not be able to reach me in time to punish my land, if I'm dashing back all the time, Marth can just wave dash in and then forward smash where I'm going to dash back to. And I'm not going to be able to react to that all the time. I'm not going to be ready for that, and that can just kill you. So if you're landing and always dashing back, be careful. They could hit you. Sometimes you want to land and shield, but not all the time, because then they'll just start grabbing you. Sometimes you want to land and then dash forwards. Aha! Dashing forwards, always better. That'll show them. They think they're being sneaky with an overshot aerial. Aha! I run right past them and I take stage. It's not that dashing back is always good. It's that people are just always covering dashing forwards because they want to protect their asses. But if they know you're going to dash back and they're going to cover dash back, then dashing forward all of a sudden becomes unpunishable. Right? So it's all about mixing up what you're going to do. And of course, with these jumps, you know, I talked about short hops and like how these like interact with people on the ground. Like how an instant hitbox and how a late hitbox interacts with characters on the ground is really important. Because if you're short hopping, you're still vulnerable to like grounded attacks grounded movement. Like, they could just grab you in the air because you short hopped in front of them. Stuff like that. So you can mix this up with like full hops, with double jumps. Mix it up with your true vertical zoning. Boom. 1, 2, 3. With these kind of aerials, like, it really behooves you to space and time around other people's options. Like, if you know Mart's gonna like short hop fair right here, like I said, you can shield stop and then do a neutral jump, so the sword's not gonna hit you, and then just as the sword disappears, your bear is coming out. Okay, number 4. You can do aerial baits. So you see Wizzy do this a lot. He'll either do just like stomps in the center of the stage, and then people are like, oh, stomps, that's really laggy, I'm gonna dash in and grab him. But like, they're doing it from like all the way over here. They're so scared of Falcon's speed that they're like so far away from Falcon that as soon as they see the stomp, their brain is so ready to whiff punish that they just do it, even though like the spacing isn't actually true. So by doing this bait in place, you can force out an option from opponents. They feel obligated to punish it, and then you can L cancel, dash back, and then dash in and punish. So Wizzy either does this, which is like more standard, more telegraphed. It's easy to tell where your spacing is. Or he does this, the Llod stomp, which is a dash drift back for back stomp. And the beautiful thing about this is if a fox is here and he's trying to dash nair at you, your dash puts you far away from them as you pull back your body with the stomp, and then you stomp exactly where he has to land. And there's really like, so long as you had that like distance correct, like where they jumped from, they have no chance of hitting you, and you can land on them with your best move in the game. So if you know that distance where your stomp is unpunishable, unreactable, you can do this with knee too. Knee's kind of laggy, and then like back here is auto cancelable, so, and like really fast L cancel too as well. So like the amount of lag you have after L canceling determines like how far or close to do this from your opponent. Like if it's stomp, I want to stomp like here so I don't get like grabbed. This would still allow me like enough time to be able to dash out and do this to punish like a dash and grab. If it's bear, I could do it like all the way up here because it auto cancels, and then I can dash out of it immediately after. Up air, nair, also very fast. Stomp, knees are slower. This is kind of like zoning because like you know that you're safe based on the distance and how far you are from them. But then you're not really in danger here. And you can get people to break from their zones with this kind of tactic. And for people who are like cemented into like whiff punishing dash attacks or whiff punishing with their dash dance, like this is just like candied for them. Like it's unresistible. You can also do this with your nair. instead of doing the full, like, I'm not gonna fast follow this nair, look how far it goes, surely it'll hit. A lot of people are ready for that because they've played the Falcon matchup more than 3 times. So what you can start doing instead is, instead of this snare, you do this snare. And then in their brains, or you do something like in between, right? If you do a dashing pullback nair, they still have it in their brains to punish nair on reaction upon landing, but you can like land way sooner and outside of their range than they expect. And then that gives you enough time to L cancel, dash away, and then punish whatever they might try to do. So again, these are all aerial baits that you can use to make them abandon their kind of zoning, to bait them into committing to stuff. This is good versus opponents who want to stay far enough away from your threat range and try to react and punish you. They set up that spacing themselves in order for these baits to work. Like, it works because it's easy, because they're already so far away from you because they want to stay safe. They don't want to get hit. So all you gotta do is just give them what they're looking for and then punish them for it. Okay, number 5, Wavedash spacing. So wave dashing gives you access to like grounded moves. And during this wave dash and like standing up for animation, you can't really do anything, you're in lag. But you have, it's like kind of a rhythm thing. Like after every, it's like wave dash attack, wave dash attack. So if you're timing, you can time your wave dash to be able to like, so for your hitboxes to come out when you want them to. And then you have access to these tilts, which are not terrible. They're really slow. They're like 11 frames to come out, which is, it's not great, but they're not nothing. And if your opponent's at like high percentage, you can like wave dash into their zone, and because it's like really slow timing, you can catch them like dashing back in and hit them with like a tilt. Or you can like bait with this. But wave dashing allows you to play like in a more grounded style. Falcon can wave dash back and do stuff too. You can wave dash back, you can wave dash and jump too. Probably the best thing about the wave dash, like your best grounded option, is going to be your gentleman's, which comes out frame 3, and if you can connect the first one, you can connect the other ones most of the time. It's not guaranteed, but whatever. Or you can wave dash and grab. Well, yeah, it's not a great hitbox. Jabs are fast, tilts give you range, jumps keep you mobile. But wave dashing can put you in that like extra precise spacing, give you that extra precision in your spacing, and it gives you like a clear timing for when to do your thing. So it gives you that bit of control is really what it's good for. Again, some tools. You've seen the dash, wave dash down, wave dash back, wave dash forwards. This gives you like a hitbox come out, or this gives you like a zoning hitbox out in front of you. It's a little slow, but you know, it's 11 frames. Up tilt gives you a late hitbox in case they're trying to avoid the early hitbox of a forward tilt or a jab. And then whiff punish, they'll whiff punish right into this later hitbox of the up tilt. So these are mix-ups you can condition for, and you have options out of your wave dash, out of your grounded moves. You know, wave dash spacing obviously way better for better wave dash characters, better grounded moves Falcon is like Wavedash spacing is one of the harder ones to utilize, but it's not nothing. Falcon can still kind of do this. This can be good if you can stuff their movement with these things. Like think Samus, like Wavedash jabs. If you have a tight Wavedash and you can act out of it fast, then you can kind of play like an honest ground game and force them to too by stuffing them out. These are interruptible, so you can just keep spinning. Okay, number 6. You have run cancel jabs or run canceling. So a lot of Falcons like to jump around, but when you jump, if you get hit out of your jump, you can't CC, which is a damn shame because Falcon's CC is one of the best in the games. He's so heavy, and he can gentleman into a combo into knee off of CCs. He can CC grab, and his grab game's amazing. With run cancel jabs, you're no longer limited to like your dash dance range. You can like give it up at any time to throw out some jabs. And if you like crouch to cancel your jabs, I'm pressing down to cancel the lag, the like interruptible frames. I'm pressing down during interruptible frames in order to like be able to do another like neutral grounded move again. But you can also cancel with dash. Yeah, you can also get out of there with the dash if you cancel your jabs and stuff like that. With run canceling, you have like, you could just assert your presence throughout the whole stage while staying grounded. So long as you have enough room to run, you can throw out a jab anywhere on the stage. So long as you're entering run, that's really the only requisite. This could be a jab, this could be a tilt, this could be an up tilt, this could be a down tilt. And your tilts aren't fast, like I said, but they do have some range. They're not going to beat out any kind of hitbox, but if you can catch your opponent not using a hitbox, then like this can like really confuse their spacing for that. Think like dash dance campers or something. You just kind of pop them a little bit and say hi. Boop. You can crouch anywhere, you can dash back out of crouch, you can utilize all this like movement out of run, out of crouch. You can CC stuff, CC grab, gentleman, or aerial. You can jab. You can jab, crouch, grab for the fastest jab grab. You can mix in like, you can make use of your dashes and your wave dashes as well out of like grounded movement. You can hold C-stick down while running to like constantly be like ASDIing down. That's something 20GX has talked about. I don't know if anyone does that, if Gatsu does that. It's probably tried in the past. You have cactuar dashes, you have dashing shields. You know, this is just adding upon what you could do with your grounded movement. So I think this technique is good for like introducing chaos into your opponent's like zoning games. You can catch people off guard. It's really aggressive because you're just running straight into their space. Staying on the ground lets you better utilize your lower percentages. and crouch canceling. It can be bad versus opponents who are with aggressive, confident ground games. Like if they see that you're running in and they just immediately throw out a hitbox, like you're gonna lose to that hitbox. Like this jab isn't gonna out-prioritize anything unless you can like beat them to the punch. But like, yeah. So it's good to mix in the jab, like out of dash stance. That kind of like masks you entering run a little better. Or they could just, if your opponent just is just looking for a grab, they could just grab you out of your run. But it's definitely something worth trying or thinking about. I just want to show you that there's way more options than just dash dancing, and how you could utilize all that grounded movement that we talked about in the first video. Okay, number 7, this is going to be the last thing that I suggest. You can do platform waveland aerials. And like just utilizing platforms in general, it's kind of like vertical zoning, except you don't ever have to touch the ground. You can just kind of stay suspended in the air via platform. And with this, you can like double fast fall down for an aerial hitbox. You can shield drop for hitboxes, and you can waveland off for like all this stuff. You can waveland off with no fast fall, or you can waveland with fast fall. You can waveland with like a drift away or like a drift in to like give you like nuance spacing differences. This changes a lot with like what aerial you do. This is probably the most technically difficult zoning technique because it relies on like a lot of like air dodging onto the platforms, wave landing, shield dropping, fast falling, all this stuff. And then if you're like really proficient at this, then like all of these platforms and different platforms heights and spacings can open up a lot of room for creativity. And it can make you really hard to catch as well, because you're no longer reliant on the ground. Platforms, it's like ground, but in the air. Final thing I'm going to throw in is if you ever find yourself at the edge of your stage, you've run out of stage from zoning, you can retreat to the ledge, get some invincibility, ledge dash on with some invincibility, and then like you can like jump from the edge and kind of like bait them into chasing you. You can kind of like do this stuff to get to be safe, like slowly, and then you can like create opportunities from there. You can like stay here and then jump to like top platform, and you always have invincibility at the ledge. So center stage isn't as game breaking as it is for maybe a lot of other games because you have this invincibility. Some other strengths from the platform kind of zoning style is you can edge cancel, and this can just like throw in a lot of extra stuff. You can easily catch people off guard with like how platforms mix up your timing and like their expectations for where you're going to be. And this is almost like another kind of vertical zoning, except you have way more options to work from. Alright, that was the zoning demonstration, guys. Hope you learned something. Hope your third eye is awakened. Thanks for watching.